Howdy everybody, it is Cheri Band. How are you doing? Happy Friday to you all. It is let me see, what week am I on? I'm on week 21, eating whole food, plant-based, no oil, or living whole food, plant-based, no oil, because I'm living. All right, so update of the week. Yeah, wipe my lip here, got a hair or something on it. So I said last week I got a squeaky chair. Don't mind my squeaky chair. If you were just stumbling on this video, I'm Cheri Band, like I said, and a long time ago now. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but 3 weeks ago I was in rushed to the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack. Long story short, I've completely changed my life in terms of the way that I eat. I'm eating whole food, plant-based, no oil. So what does that mean? I don't eat any animal products. I don't eat any dairy, no meat, no cheese, none of that stuff. And I really don't eat any refined products either. Refined carbohydrates, things like that. So I eat whole foods, plants. And I've lost now, as of today, woohoo, oh, you can see Midge. Midge is growing. Eek, that's the puppy. Ooh, if you've been following along. She's getting big. I think I'm insane. I don't know where I'm going to sleep because the dog is going to take up the bed. But anyways, okay. But back to what has happened with me eating this way. I started out at the hospital when I was there in the ER, 231. As of this morning, 162. Woohoo! So I've lost 69 pounds. Almost 70. I can't even believe it. Almost 70 pounds. So my youngest son, I've now lost, like when I pick him up, if I pick him up, I think he weighs about that much, somewhere in there. So like 69 pounds, 60 something pounds. So when I pick him up, I'm like, that's what I used to be. Like, yeah. Like, his name's Edison, so I was, Edison. I've lost an Edison. That's how much weight. So craziness. It hasn't been hard, guys. Not really. I've done all the things, all the diets, all the things. If you've been following along, you already know that, but just for anybody who's stumbling on this for the first time. And nothing was sustainable. This has been totally amazing, and it is a lifestyle. I now have energy to move my body, which I never did before, based on the fuel I was putting in it. So now I walk usually 3 miles a day, a little over 3 miles a day. But today, it's Friday, so I did my walk in the morning and my walk this afternoon. So I did my 5 mile plus my 1.5 in the morning, and I'll do another one tonight. So maybe I'll get to 20,000 steps today. Don't do that every day. But today I might. And that seems like a lot. And for anybody who is out there listening to this and they don't do that type of activity, that used to be me. I could hardly get my ass off the couch, and now I do that. So, and I'm nothing special. It's the fuel I'm putting into my body, and it works. It works. So anyways, 21 weeks down, almost 70 pounds lost, very close, 1 pound more. So we'll squeak that out probably over the weekend. I don't know. We'll see how much walking I do. We'll see. I don't know. But I said last week that I wasn't going to weigh myself because I was weighing myself every single morning. And there was some talk in the house as to whether I was obsessed with it or not, because if it wasn't, like if I was, if I went up, because it does fluctuate a little bit through the week, it would bother me, but at least I knew where I was. I came to a conclusion this week. I waited until this morning, didn't weigh myself since last Friday. So I was happy that I lost the 2 pounds since last Friday. That was nice. Being that Wednesday was our youngest daughter's birthday. She is 11. And we got Papa John's pizza. Of course, I didn't get any cheese on it. But for us, we did get some, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But let me finish my weight thing, and then I'll come back to the Papa John's in a moment. But I came to the conclusion that I like to see, I'm a visual person. I like to see movement, whether it be forward or backwards. I like to see something happening. And it's hard if I'm wearing like the same clothes. I can tell things are getting a little bigger or whatever, but you can't with just a couple pounds, right? You don't know that. And it's kind of nice because when I was weighing myself every morning, it would kind of like get my mind like thinking about my health, not just my weight, but like how it's going to go today, like whatever. And if it was where it wasn't down for the day, because obviously if I'm losing a pound a day, that's not real healthy, right? But if it wasn't staying stable or it went up and then it went back, I wouldn't say it bothered me. I wanted to try this for a week and see. And what I realized is I just really need to see that. I need to see that for me to get my mind in the right place for my day, whether it be good or bad. I need to see it. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to go back to weighing myself every day. And if I find that it bothers me, if it's not where I think it should be, then maybe I'll do that again where I stay away from it for a little while. But I will tell you, it hasn't changed what I've done, except for now let's go to Papa John Wednesday for Rachel's birthday. We got a couple pizzas with like for those of us in the house that we did cheese pizzas for the kids, and then they all paid for it. Not all of them ate it because some of the kids they're trying to stay away from any dairy at all, but I did go ahead and do that for them, thinking, it's a treat. It was a good thing. One, we all felt like total shit afterwards, all of us, including me. I only ate a piece and a half of the pizza. And again, mine didn't have any cheese on it, but it has oil, and I don't eat any added oils. And when I prepare our food, I don't put any added oils into it. It's mainly all just pretty clean, pretty simple. The only time we ever get any oil is if we munch on some tortilla chips, those have oil in them. Or if you eat a few nuts that might have oil on them, things like that. Very little added oil. I don't really, honestly, out of the house, I have almost none. Like almost zero, because I don't eat any of that stuff. So then my body was like, oh, what have you done? And then on top of that, I made the most amazing. I had gotten sprouted whole grain Rice Krispie cereal from Thrive Market that we order from. It's really good. Kind of tastes like Cheerios, but it's a whole grain cereal. And but it looks like Rice Krispies, except for it's not as light. It's a little denser, probably because it's whole grain. So I made, instead of using marshmallow and oil to make Rice Krispie treats for Rachel, instead of doing a cake, we did, even though we ate the Papa John's, I did this Rice Krispie treat thing. It's supposed to be done with peanut butter, but we use sunflower butter, which is made with sunflower seeds because my other daughter Shelby has issues with nuts. So we did that, and it has maple syrup and a little bit of sugar in there. And then I melted non-dairy chocolate chips and put it on the top of it, put it in the freezer. Long story short, it was freaking amazing. And for the first time, I overindulged. I sat there and ate that stuff. And I just really felt, within probably an hour, I just really felt bad. And we still walked after Darren and I. Once we were done eating, we always go for a walk. Usually in about 15 or 20 minutes after we're both finished, we head out for a walk, unless we're going somewhere, but at nighttime we don't generally. So we went out for a walk and then came back, and I said, honey, I just really feel rotten. I thought for sure that my sugar was high because I just felt really sick. So about an hour in, and typically I would never check when I was checking my sugars, I wouldn't check until 2 hours, but about an hour after we were finished eating, and we come back from our walk, I did check my sugar, and it wasn't high at all. It was for what I had, it was 120. And that being that short of a time and not having a spike, that was pretty impressive. But I think my gut was just in overdrive. It didn't like it at all. And I wasn't the only one. Everybody else felt pretty poopy. And even the kids. The next day we had quite a bit of leftovers. And Rachel said to me, she's like, I haven't had cheese like that. And so cheese pizza. And she said, I want to eat some leftovers. But she said, I felt so bad last night that I kind of don't want to. And I'm like, well, then don't do it. So I guess, what did I learn? What did mom learn? It's not a treat to poison my children, right? No, not that Papa John's is poison, but we've done so well at trying to clear the crap out that once we brought it in, and occasionally eating, occasionally trying that, I think it's good for us. I think it's good for me the pizza it's pretty tasty though. I gotta admit, pizza was pretty tasty. I only had a piece and a half, but then after me picking all the veggies off, which probably some of them had oil in it too, I probably ate a whole nother half a pizza just in picking off the veggies. But anyways, so we did that. And I got to tell you though, if you want that recipe for the Rice Krispie, peanut butter Rice Krispie treats, or you can use sunflower butter. So good. Oh, it was almost too rich, but I still ate a lot of it. But I still lost 2 pounds in the last week. So there you go. I'm not restricting my diet to the point where, I feel like I'm missing things. Like I ate that and look, I still lost 2 pounds. So anyways, so there was that. This actually might be short. I'm like 9 minutes in. The other thing I want to talk about that I started this week, I started on Wednesday, Rachel's birthday, same day, is when my eCornell, the T. Colin Campbell Center for Nutrition Studies, the plant-based nutrition certificate that I'm working on, that started this week. So I'm back in school and it's really interesting. It still makes me a little sad. I mean, the details that I find out, and I think like we've learned about, like statistically, I learned about the top 10 causes of death. And I think out of the top 10 causes, only 3 of them, which are suicide, accidents, and there's some questionable, like whether influenza and pneumonia could be like reduced or prevented from diet or diet associated death. Out of the top 10 causes, that nutrition has such a big role in heart disease and diabetes and stroke and all of the things. And actually here, let me see if I have notes. I have notes. Let me look at my notes. That's not my notes. Where are my notes? They're back here. And I probably should make it pretty, like if I go looking for notes. But I want to tell you, this is the thing. Like one of the top 10 causes of death is lower lower respiratory disease, which would be what my dad died of, COPD. But he actually got pneumonia and then died. Now we can have the talk about COVID. Did pneumonia cause my dad's death, or did COPD cause my dad's death? He got the pneumonia. He had a pre-existing condition. I think that's what we're facing now in our country, is a lot of these pre-existing conditions. COVID wouldn't be such a big deal if we weren't all so sick, if our bodies were in better shape. So anyways, heart disease, cancer, accident is number 3. Chronic lower respiratory disease, that's number 4. That's what my dad died of. COPD, things like that. 5 is stroke. 6 is Alzheimer's disease. 7 is diabetes. 8, pneumonia or influenza. And these might have changed since the statistics were put in this course. 9, kidney disease. And 10, suicide. And I could dispute some of the mental health things. I think a lot of it can be contributed to what we're eating too. Study-wise, I don't have a study for that for you, but I look at these things, cancers. It used to be there was like 10 to 70% were where nutrition could play a role. And then it hit like the 35 mark, with the 35% mark where nutrition is playing a role in that cancer. And now we're, they're at like 70% of cancers are attributed to lifestyle, not genetics, guys. Turning the cancer on with what we're eating, turning it on, because people can get cancer cells, but that doesn't mean you necessarily are going to get cancer. So, we're sitting at like around 70%. That's what the studies are showing. And it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm looking at like, what things you eat can affect these diseases, and like animal protein being linked to kidney disease. And I know like liver cancer is like on the rise, and it's because of our lifestyle. It's because of what we're eating. It's because of the fat, the high fat foods, the animal proteins. But anyways, okay. So I'm learning lots of stuff. It's amazing. A lot of it I already knew. It's just digging in a little deeper. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm loving it, and I've actually gotten through a lot of it. I've probably done about 4.5 hours of it already, of this section. So I'm on Nutrition and Society right now, and then it'll be in 2 weeks I'll start the next section. So that's really exciting. And then the last thing that I started listening to, the Starch Solution. John McDougall is a doctor, and he's another, pioneer in the plant-based movement, the whole food movement, and he's more focused on starches, which is kind of what I'm finding more the way that I'm eating. So I ended up getting his audiobook, The Starch Solution. I've been listening to it when I've been walking, and it's really interesting. And I have a question for all of you, whether you're watching this on Facebook or if you stumble on to YouTube and you see this, if you're, whether you're whole food, plant-based or not, and a lot of my friends and family are not, I know, but I'm curious if you restrict yourself when it comes to like starches, meaning like potatoes and rice and beans? Do you limit your intake of those? I'm just curious because of it being considered a carb. Do you limit how much? Do you feel like it's bad for you? I just kind of wondering what the consensus is out there. So if you're watching this, if you could do me a favor, it's kind of like a little study thing that I want to work on. And so put it below. Like, what do you eat a lot of potatoes? Do you eat a lot of rice? Do you eat a lot of beans? Or do you limit those because you feel like they might make you fat, or they might make you feel bad, or they might make your sugar high, or whatever? So help me out and answer that question. All right, really, that's all I have. It's been a good week. I will tell you, something I did start this week is I'm walking in the dark in the morning. Did that every day this week with my headlamp on or whatever. And it's getting to where it's not scary at all. And I have dear friends with green eyes in the woods that kind of, I see where they're at, almost the same place every day. So that's a little creepy, but cool. But anyways, dark in the morning, and then when Darren and I walk at night now, it's pretty dark. So I'm not in the sun. Like today, it felt so good to be walking and getting in the sun. Oh, because I'm here with the kids doing homeschool, and then now with the school doing this and not getting that afternoon walk-in, I'm not getting any sunshine. So I did start taking vitamin D. So I'm taking the B12 and I'm taking the vitamin D. So I'll let you know how that goes. Because I know I know that I've had issues with low vitamin D levels before. I really need to have the doctor check that just to see where I'm at. And I know that I'll have a follow-up here in a month or so with him, and we can do that. But anyways, if you're interested in what I'm doing, keep following along. I'll keep you posted. It's going well though, guys. It's really going well. I don't really... Honestly, the only complaint I have is it costs a lot of freaking money to keep buying clothes. So I just keep waiting. I got a few things, but I'm just waiting because I keep losing, and that's a good thing. I'll get to where my body wants to be, and then we'll sit tight and eat our plants. So anyways, thank you for watching this, and I'll be back next week with my accountability update and let you know how it's going. So you all have a blessed one. We will see you later.